Thank you. I'm Dan. This is Flocky. We're both here from Mozilla. I work in developer relations, and Flocky is part of our Tech Speakers program. And if you've heard of Mozilla, you've probably heard of us because of the Firefox browser. So who here has used Firefox? Who here is currently using Firefox? Okay. So what I want to do is convince some of you to try this again, because what Mozilla is trying to do with Firefox is really important. Mozilla is a nonprofit organization that's not just trying to make a better browser, but trying to ensure that the web itself is protected and furthered as a public resource, as an open and secure platform. And the main gateway that we do that through is by trying to create a browser. But what we stand for is much, much more. We have a saying at Mozilla that anything that the web cannot do better or faster than a native app is a bug in the web, and that we should fix those. One of our more recent initiatives has been Firefox OS, which is an entire mobile operating system built on the open web. And we're using this as a proving ground to find those bugs, find the places where web technology can't do what native technology can, and then to address that. And when I say that Firefox OS is written from the web, I want to show you what I mean. I'm going to open up the Web IDE, which is part of Firefox Developer Edition. I've got my personal phone here on the side, which is running Firefox OS. So I'll unlock that, open up a browser, and let's, I think I have a tab open to the Mozilla homepage. So if I come over here, I can actually connect and debug my phone. There are no wires. I'm doing this over Wi-Fi. And I can go and open this browser tab, and I can inspect everything. But it's not just web pages. Like that's to be expected. This is a browser. You can see browser things. What I can also do is inspect the system itself. And what you'll see here, if I resize this to where it's legible, is that I have a div with ID screen. And when I hover over that, my phone highlights that element. And I can expand this, and you can see things like div ID status bar at the top. And so over in the DevTools, I can say, I want my status bar's background color to be red. And my actual phone just changed. So what we're trying to do here is say that if you know how to write web software, if you know HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, you can write for Firefox OS, because writing for Firefox OS is writing for the web, and vice versa. And it's not just that. Like you can do useful things, but you can also do stupid things, like taking the entire screen and applying transform, rotate 90 degrees, or 180. And the phone responds immediately to that change in CSS. Let's not do that. An interesting consequence of building this operating system is that it has some implications for IoT. Because to make this work, to make a phone work using web technology, we have to make all of the gizmos, all of the sensors, all of the hardware and all the capabilities of the phone available to JavaScript. So an example of that, there are simple things that have been on the web for a while. So there's a device orientation API that, when I tilt my phone, the little green dot moves. And that's just using JavaScript just on the web. But there are so many more interesting things that a phone can do. We have a page on the Mozilla Developer Network called Web API that lists APIs for communication over Bluetooth, over your mobile connection, hardware APIs for battery status, geolocation, proximity, data management, other APIs, all sorts of things that you can access through JavaScript. So Martin gave a wonderful talk this morning about going really deep with physical hardware and connecting wires together and doing IoT things that way. What we're really interested in is showing how earlier on, you already have a device that has most of those sensors in your pocket. And if you know how to make web applications, you can access those sensors without any new skills, without any new learning. It's all just JavaScript. as an example of how easy it is to access this, let's go back to the Mozilla page just as a test bed, and let's go and debug that. So I'll switch back to the Web IDE, and I'll open up my Mozilla page. I'll go into the console. And so one feature that a phone has is a proximity sensor, so that when you hold your phone to your face, the screen turns off. But it's not a fast response sensor, right? Like, you don't wave your hand over your phone and it goes black for a second. But let's see what it takes to use that. So I can create a handler. This is going to be a function that takes an event and logs. Can people read what I'm typing? Okay. I'm going to log event.near. And now I'm going to say window.addEventListener for user proximity. I'm going to pass it that handler. Oh, yep, thank you. And so now when I put my hand over my phone and take it away. True? False. And so 2 lines of JavaScript, and already I can interact with a proximity sensor on a device. And this leads to the ability to do some really unproductive things, like make a game of Pong that, you can use your keyboard to control it. But what if I instead connected 2 phones to this over a WebSocket, and let's say this is going to be the right controller, and there's another phone here as well, but we can't see them both at the same time. You'll have to see my hand moving and see what happens. So if I hit connect and hit connect, what we should see is controllers connected. Okay, so if I refresh and hold my hand over my phone, it should go back. And hold my hand over my phone, and it goes back. And this is great, but like I said, that sensor isn't designed to respond extremely quickly. So we need another type of sensor if we want to do something interesting like this. And for that, let's try using ambient light. So something else we can do here is let's add another handler that logs e.value. Switch back to the Mozilla page where I'm executing these. And then let's say add event listener for device light. And so you know how when you step out into the sun, your phone will brighten the screen and then you move inside and it dims the screen? You can get access to that same information. So now when I shadow my phone, you can see these numbers getting darker, or lower and then higher, and then lower and higher, but much more quickly, much more responsively. So we need a volunteer from the audience, someone in like the first row or so, Don. And if you could get this headlamp on.
Yeah, let's see.
And while he does that, let's remove event listener. Okay, and I'll switch back to the controller.
You can watch the screen here too.
And let's change this to respond to light, and change this to respond to light. If we could dim the lights in the room, please. Okay, so what should happen is if this is left, so hold it in your right hand, and that's right. So as you look at these, the paddle should move. Oh. So you get the idea, right? Like, thank you. This isn't necessarily a practical or useful demo, but it's something that's attainable with a very small amount of JavaScript. You can write code that will respond to events in your environment. And these are network devices, so you have a 3G modem, so you could send an SMS when a light's turned on inside your room. Or you could send an email, or you could do whatever you want because you have all these sensors. I have one more example I'd like to show again, using wireless debugging in the Web IDE, a colleague of mine, Soleil, who some of you know from Mozilla in London, wrote an app called the cat server. And so I'm going to open this up in the Web IDE, and all this is a whole mess of JavaScript that sets up an HTTP server written in JavaScript that runs on the phone. And it also will use the NFC capabilities of the phone to transfer data to other devices. So if I'm going to have Lewis come up while I install this, I'm just going to click the play button in the Web IDE, and it's going to wirelessly go to my phone and launch. So what happens is if Lewis stands over here, and let's get the webcam open. So we're going to touch our phones. And now if you put your phone under here so we can see what happens. Did we do it long enough? Is it going to go?
It's trying.
One more time. NFC is hard.
Restart.
Yeah, we're going to restart, and then if this doesn't work, we have a video. All right, try now. All right, it's buzzing.
Yeah, it's okay.
It says sent the URL. Why isn't your phone listening? All right, I'm going to do it with my phone.
Yep.
Thank you. Oh. Live demos, cat server video. So what should have happened is using JavaScript to talk to NFC when the phone detects another phone near it. Put the phones together. I always get the timing off in this recording. What happens is it'll send a URL to the other phone over NFC that points back to the first phone and which serves cat GIFs. So you can use JavaScript again to respond to NFC and transfer data. And if you have another phone, another device running, it can communicate back and forth between those. And all you need is the local network. You don't have to go out to the internet and back or anything like that, like with Dropbox or other technologies. So cats with JavaScript and NFC. We're happy to do that demo in person later. I swear it works. But yeah, at least the headlamp part worked. So the whole point of this is that what you already have with you, this is a Firefox OS phone. There aren't a ton of them in the wild. But the other controller was an Android running Firefox for Android. What we're trying to do by finding these frontiers of where the web doesn't have an API, we don't have APIs for Bluetooth or FM radios, well, now we do, because we had to make them for Firefox OS. And as those APIs mature and as they become stable and as we kind of figure out what they need to be able to do, we take them to the W3, we take them to other browser vendors, and we try to get them implemented and standardized so that on any browser, anywhere on the web, you gain these capabilities. And then you as developers who know JavaScript can apply that knowledge to these sorts of devices very, very easily. There are some limitations, however, and for that, I want to hand over the presentation to István.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, hello. So, yeah, like Dan said, we have a lot of stuff coming up, right? Usable in writing your web browser or Node.js or whatever JavaScript running system you have. Actually, he talked about Bluetooth. Web Bluetooth is becoming a thing. It's becoming standardized. And what I'm going to sleep about how to use GPIO with JavaScript on microcontrollers and some small devices is coming to the web also. It's being standardized. We don't know yet if it's going to end up as file system API or GPIO.js or whatever, but the API is being standardized right now. So what I'm going to talk about though is the Tessel and the Tessel 2. I'm trying to show you these two devices. Let me just plug in the Tessel 2 for your enjoyment. Yeah, should go. Okay. Let's try this one. Yeah, there we go. So you have the Tessel 2 here. You might have heard, and right beside it was the Tessel 1. What you might have heard about these microcontrollers are running JavaScript on the microcontrollers itself. The Tessel 2 is the new iteration. Let us wait for it to boot up. It's like 30 seconds because it's like a full Linux machine, so a full Linux is running on the device now. What you could do with this is what you couldn't do right now with Firefox OS, because Firefox OS has lots of APIs, but you're stuck with the hardware, you're stuck with the phones. There you go. Good morning. Hey, good morning, otsconf. Or it's like, yeah. So what happens here, this module right here, just unplug it. This module right here is like a simple $10 display I got off from eBay, or you can order it from China. We heard China has a lot of tools like this one. What I did is actually I used JavaScript, actually the Tessel tool runs Node.js, to access the GPIO ports that are located on these ports on the side of the Tessel, and use plain old electrons to send digital signals to the module itself and have it display the image I wanted to display. I have the Tessel one here to show you. It's going to be a bit faster to boot up because this is JavaScript running on the microcontroller itself. Just see this. So you see it already booting up. So what happens here? So this is a snake game. What you see here, besides the display, is another module that's like a stock accelerometer module that's connected to the Tessel. What I try to do now is try to tilt the device and try to use this good old Nokia classic to collect all these little dots that appear on the screen. This is a microcontroller running JavaScript and working through stock electronic hardware you could get from the internet. This is where we want to go with running JavaScript to let you, for you to have the ability to know JavaScript. This is a easy language. Before this, you have to resort to C or C++ to work on hardware. And what the Tessel 2 is good at, and all these microcontrollers, specific microcontroller hardwares, is that you actually can prototype your hardware, you mix and match your modules, you create your own solution, you create your startup. And when you are done, you're done with the JavaScript code, and you're done with your prototype, you can actually ask Tessel to integrate the other modules and like ship you 1,000 boards with the integrated modules you requested, and use the same exact JavaScript prototype that you use for prototyping, use it in live production on your device. It has Wi-Fi, it has USB ports. Only your imagination is the only the imagination could be the end of where you go with this. And the most important thing about this is sometimes even running JavaScript is not enough. If you think about microcontrollers, these stuff you sometimes want to run from a battery pack, so every byte, every computing second counts. And even though V8 is great, it's not as great as programming low-level hardware, and that's when Rust comes into view. Because on the Tessel 2, you can run Rust if you wanted to. And so to run Rust is a nice thing in and of itself. So you could code the microcontroller by using the Node.js applications you write for it, but you could also code Rust on it. And what you could even do is mix and match. So you do some parts of your application, you use some modules with Rust, and use some modules that are not. Who here would want to like system code like network applications? JavaScript is good at that. Node.js is good at that. But when it's number crunching, you should just go one level deeper. And when earlier you would have to resort to writing C code applications and call them my Node.ffi or some library like that. Now you could run Rust applications, and Rust is a great language because it holds your hand. Its compiler, jokingly called the complainer, is what it tells you all the mistakes that you could do. Even if you do a mistakes before compiling your application, you're not left with like a segmentation fault or something, but the compiler will tell you what you had done wrong and link you to an issue that helps you resolve the problem. So it helps you write good code. I mean, it makes sure you can write good code, and it helps you write good code. And besides that, it's also fast, like hellishly fast. It's a systems programming language just as fast as C or C++ could get to. And it still feels like a high-level language because it has so great constructs in it. So if you never tried Rust, it's time for you to dive in because it has a npm-like packet manager. There are a lot of packets. It's called cargo. There are a lot of crates coming out for it, which are these npm modules-like things that you could install from the web. It supports Unix, Windows, OS X, and microcontroller hardware. And if you want to know more about this, you could join us on our workshop tomorrow. So we are going to be hacking with the FirefoxOS ones. You can try all the web APIs and then just show you, and even more of them. And you could get a chance to use it as Tessels to try out how could you hack together prototypes in be it Node.js, JavaScript, or Rust. Also, the Tessel is coming out in September, hopefully, end of September. Some of you might have heard of it. Some of you might even have it on pre-order. Pre-order ships in September. But if you want to know and learn more about how to use JavaScript and Rust together, how can you use Rust to speed up your Node.js applications by building Node.ffi modules, and also how could you put that to good use on a microcontroller like Tessel 2, be sure to check out the NodeConf EU. It's on September the 6th in Ireland. I'm going to give a talk in which I go more into details on how you could use JavaScript and Node.js together. So thank you for your kind cooperation, and you can find our Twitter handles. Please get in touch. You can find us around. Ask your questions if you have any, and come try the cat server.
I have just one more thing. I didn't have NFC on, so like rookie mistake, right? But cat server? Oh. Cats. I can touch it again. So JavaScript sending cats from one phone to another using open web technology. You already have everything you need to get started, and when you're ready to move on to the next level, you can take those same skills to the Tessel. Oh, go ahead.
Maybe tomorrow at our workshop.
Exactly, yes. Workshop, please come. Thank you so much.
Awesome.